YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we're gonna showcase White Forest and Labrynth. Now, I got this idea from one comment in my previous video, this guy right here. So he said, in simple terms, White Forest, Labrynth. That's it. So I was actually playing some other variants for the White Forest, Runick, Snake Eyes. We got recently the Centurion and the White Forest, so that's old news already. Anywho, this is another version that I tried to make, and it was very fun. So far, you just have to work your way with just a couple of White Forest monsters in your main deck. It was enough. Just one copy of Stellar, 2 copies of LZ. You can even work your way with 1 copy, but the 2 copies is pretty good though. Just additional bodies that you can have on the field. And this bounces back with a copy of Big Welcome and some other cards from the Labrynth archetype. Second of all, you have 2 copies of Sylvie. You can run with 3 copies if you wish, but having 2 copies is enough because you just have to work your way with 1 Tails and a 1 copy of Woe. So 2 is enough. 1 copy of Rosia just for the draw or the +1. And then for your spell and trap cards, like I said earlier, 1 Tails and 1 copy of Woes. Basically, I've seen some other versions where people are running 2 copies or 3 copies of Woes. It's okay though, I would say, but I want to make rooms for other trap cards as well, going up against the meta. For example, I am going up against Gimmick Puppets, currently some other White Forest decks, Voices Voice, and even decks that summons or forcibly summons Dragoons to the field. So Dimensional Barrier is a must to have in your deck. Second of all, you have a copy of Nibiru in case your opponent tries to Gimmick Puppet you for an FTK and they don't have the field spell. So this is primarily your best choice to board wipe your opponent. Not only that, going up against the other meta decks like White Forest as well, Math Mechs, and even Snake Eyes can be detrimental with a copy of Nibiru. So 1 copy is enough. Labrynth archetype, you just work your way with the same number of cards that you typically need in a Labrynth archetype, but with just 2 copies of Ariana. The same number of your Lady Labrynth, and then the 1 copy of your Lovely Labrynth, which is pretty much enough. Also, we're running with 1 copy of Arias. I do like this card a lot. So in my older version for the Labrynth archetype, I just played with 3 copies of this, but in this variant, I just played with 1, which is pretty much okay. So far, Rollback also is a pretty good card just to dump to the graveyard by any means necessary with your White Forest archetype. 1 Black Goat Laughs, 2 copies of your Destructive Daruma Cannon, and a 1 copy of your Terrors of the Overroot. It comes up from time to time. You can run with a copy of your Dogmatic of Punishment, but I do prefer just this card right here because it's just basically a typical removal on the field. Pretty good card. That's it. That's basically it. For your extra deck, 2 copies of Silvera. I know this might be like too much, but it isn't. Because if ever I had one scenario where I really need a second copy just to flip cards face down, and this is a soft once per turn. So every time you summon this, you always flip your opponent's cards face down. Really insane of an effect. So if 1 was banished, you can have an extra 1 that you can summon to the field by a copy of your Diabel, Queen of the White Forest. So pretty good card. You can also run a copy of Formula Synchron here and remove the 2nd copy of Silvera if you wish. Then go into a copy of Baron the Floor or a copy of Chaos Angel, which is pretty well, it's pretty much easy if you're using Labrynth with this archetype. That's basically it. We're running Access Code Talker in case you needed like a non-target pop. 1 copy of Gigantic Sprite. This was kinda new to me, but I've seen a version of this online where a person used Gigantic Sprite. Now, I was really hesitant in using this, but after a while, he just used this for a copy of Stovey Torby. So, might as well. I'm gonna use it just to gain more access to a copy of your Big Welcome Labrynth or your Welcome Labrynth. 1 copy of Packbit just to remove some other cards on the field to their back row. Baguska for stalling. Typhon for removal. Lina Light Charmer, really good card as well if you're going up against Voiceless Voids. Very cool card. A copy of Appaloosa because there are no restrictions for the 2 archetypes involved in this deck. And then, like I said earlier, non-target pop, Access Code Talker. That's basically it for today, guys. I'll showcase to you guys 3 replays with this deck, and it was very fun playing this deck out. Hope you enjoy this kind of content. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next video. Goodbye.